Yeah, got it?
That's good.
Sorry.
You took really bad,
So welcome to the annual Parish Council meeting. We will start. So item 1 is to elect a chairman.
I'll second it.
Any other proposals? Thank you very much. But anybody else? Okay. Okay. Are we ready? Ready to go?
Yeah.
Thank you. Proposed, it's seconded. All those in favour?
You haven't said you're going to accept it yet.
I'll accept the proposal.
Small print.
Okay. In the small print. To receive the declaration of acceptance of this. Sign it now. Something like received.
Drew?
Is the register of attendance available?
Yeah.
I can make a note.
Okay.
Could you remind Councillor Steele's microphones, please?
Councillors, could you use the microphones, please? Also, members of the public, if you're asking questions, so that we can all hear you, because my hearing's not particularly good, and so that it appears on the recording, could we ask everyone, where possible, to use anything to use the microphone?
Philip.
Apologies for absence. So we've got apologies received from Paul Vernon. Can I have a proposal and second for those? 5. Richard. All those in favour? Thank you. I don't think anyone hasn't yet signed the declaration of office. You've all done that. That's fine. Item 5, disclose members' DPI or personal interest in any item to be discussed. Citizens, any items of interest? Okay. We can take them as we get to them. 6, to identify items which the press and public may be excluded. We can take them as we get to them, but is there anything that anybody wants to pick up on at the start? Stuart?
I think item 30A, that could be contractual. Item 30C, that is contractual. Item 30D, possibly involve conversation, could involve contractual matters. 30E, that again may involve contractual discussions. And 30G, that, I'll look at you, Clive, that's probably...
Stuart, microphone.
30G could involve contractual matters as well, because it's dealing with a...
Yeah, but it could be, yeah. We'll see how it goes.
We can take them as we get to them.
Let's go.
Any other items? We can vote on those as we get to them if we want to do that. They're in a block on their own anyway. They're identified. So we elect the vice chairman. You standing, Miles? Standing or seconding? Seconding. Anybody else standing? Okay, so that's proposed. We have a you're proposing, I suppose. Can I have a seconder? Thanks very much. All those in favour? All those in favour? Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, it's this sort of slow wave of hands again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Thank you very much. 8 to reaffirm committee.
Chairman, could you...
To reaffirm committees. We're having...
Should you just pass me that?
Yeah, of course.
Did you want to speak?
No.
Oh, sorry.
I'll just check your microphones are on.
Yeah,
Speak into it, please, Clive.
yeah, thanks, Christine. You don't want to say you don't want to mic. I have great difficulty with this because I'm not sure quite what
Can't hear you, Clive.
I'm not quite sure what we're reaffirming, because to my mind the committee system that we've had for the last year has not worked. It's some instances where we have to have a statutory committee, but it's the numbers that I'm concerned about.
Can't hear, Clive.
Again,
You need to
sorry.
speak right into it.
Christine,
Dear
please
me.
don't interrupt.
Can't hear. What's the point?
I'm not
if
speaking
you
at the
can't hear?
moment, and when I speak, somebody's always talking, so that's no, I can't hear.
That's not true.
Well, there you go. Yeah, as I say, I'm not convinced that as committees do work. I'm not in favour of every councillor being on a committee. I think we waste too much time of everybody's effort, clerks sending out paperwork, and I think we should relook at them. I appreciate staffing should be a committee, but it's the numbers again that I have a problem. We're down to 6 or 7 turn up at most meetings anyway. We never get a full complement of 15, and I'd rather we say, yeah, 5 or 6 members, and they're the ones that keep turning up. But I'm certainly not in favour of all the 15 people turning up, because we don't get anything done. So that's just my view on that.
Yeah, I can see what Clive's saying, but if I just draw your attention back to what actually happened and why we have a situation where we have, shall we say, every councillor is able to turn up for a council meeting, and I'm afraid it's because as a council we failed to agree on what numbers should attend what committee meetings, and after quite a few months of discussion the solution came up with, if everybody is allowed onto a committee, and I proposed that, and I knew full well at the time that not everybody would turn up, it solved the problem. But yeah, there is a point that half the people are not turning up, and we do struggle sometimes to get through things. At this moment, I just want to quickly finish off, this moment in time there's not a lot we can do, because it's not an agenda item as such. But it says here, item 8, to reaffirm committees. What it should really say here is that we should be reaffirming the terms of reference for committees and to approve them.
Chair, I'll like to support Clive on this, because we used to manage...
Okay, I'll wait. I'll wait. Yeah.
Okay, go on. We used to run quite efficiently on 4 committees, and now we've got more committees than a bloody little, and I can't find a spare day to go to take kids into the park. And it's ridiculous having so many committees. You have to have a committee for every bit of paper that you look at, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, I'd agree with John on that actually, because yes, we have too many committees, and finding time to attend them is exceedingly difficult. One of the problems with reducing the number of members that are permitted on a committee is that imbalance can occur whereby we have a small group of people, say 4 on the committee, and if you've only have a full council meeting that is just barely quorate, that can go through effectively on a minority, which is not very democratic, you know.
Just a quick one, just regarding to what you've just said there, John. We're on about, I just mentioned the fact that we struggled to find out or agree to how many numbers could turn up, and then we're on about people are not turning up. Well, to be honest, John, you're one of the people that doesn't turn up for the meetings on a regular basis. No, just let me have my say. You've had your say, I didn't interrupt you. So you're one of the people that don't turn up on a regular basis. I think we're going to speak about attendance later. And again, John, as a council, we couldn't decide on how to resolve the situation. That's why we're in the situation we've got. People have got to turn up, and people have got to make decisions.
Sorry, I think one of the reasons that people aren't turning up is that it is open to all.
Could you speak into the microphone, please?
I think one of the
can't
reasons
hear.
that we don't get people turning up all the time is that it is open to 15 councillors, and I think that actually deters some people turning up. If we were down to 5, 6, 7 at a meeting, you knew you were going to get through the agenda, get some decisions made. then I think you might get more people turning up. But I certainly would have a look at what I turn up to in this next year, because sometimes I can finish up doing 3-4 nights a week and meetings, and I don't seem to be getting it. I'm seem to, I'm wasting my time, and I'd rather it come down to 5-6 people getting through the agenda. It's got to come back to full council anyway for most of the approvals, so it's not something that we can act unilaterally on. So it's a big word, isn't it? I think we need to examine it. As Stuart said, it quite right. It's not an agenda item tonight, but I think we need to re-look at it and see what people's feelings are, because we've got that much stuff we've got to sort out at the moment that we can't keep carrying on with this, because if you've got 15 councillors that attend, and that's not what you need for a quorum for, is it 5? 3 for 5 if it's 15. But if you only have 5 or 6, then you can be caught with 3 or 4. So you're in with a better chance of actually making the meeting operate and getting somewhere. So I'd like to bring it back to the next meeting and see if we can get this sorted out, because I'm sure other councillors are nodding around the table. I'm sure there's, we've got the same view as me. Thank you.
I do agree with Councillor Jackson there, that yes, with the committees, we need to look at them as a council to make them work. And too many people, sometimes they only average about 2 many cups for the bar. Well, it's worth reducing them, also to core of them, so we can get through things. Well, like the council Jackson, whatever happens, it has to come back here anyway. So whatever decision, it might be carried, but it still comes to full council meeting anyway.
Well, I'm just wondering, because to me committees are supposed to be experience-based. So if you're going to facilities meeting, I think having knowledge and experience in that field would be a benefit to it. And is there a way of electing people on a CV basis kind of style into those committees? I know it's changing the way we have done things, but do you think it might be better doing it that way? So people with relevant experience or relevant committees, people who don't know much about the topic being there. But how do you know that? It's very broad.
The public can't hear Miles.
It's very broad. There you go. It's a very broad thing to do, especially when you're applying an experience.
Can we now address the agenda item, please, and reaffirm the committees, the names of the committees, the terms of reference of the committees? Let's get that one done, and then we can address the other items on a future agenda.
Can I just point out, under standing orders, we do have the power to, resolutions can be moved without notice. We can dissolve a committee, or we can appoint a committee at this stage, which can I also just point out, for the sake of getting the meetings running, standing orders allow somebody to speak once on an item, so without the council resolving through that. Can we try and just speak once per item? So
Could,
resolve the vote, Stuart?
Right, can I just correct you there, Chair? Is first of all, if you're on about we can make resolutions in certain circumstances, if it's not on the agenda, we can't do it, and I don't believe the area
Can't
of,
hear Stuart.
I don't believe the area of changing the committee's terms of references or disbanding committees is actually an agenda item. The second thing, as you just said, Chair, is that councillors, yes, I agree, hopefully councillors should only speak once in order to move on. Unless there's been a proposal and a seconder, councillors can speak as many times. I'm not trying to pick you, I'm just trying to clarify so others know. You speak as many times, it's only when we invoke the resolution.
Chair, can I ask that the clerk send us all a list of what committees we've got, because I don't know how many we've got. I don't even know. I mean, we've got some committees that are down for 2 things. I can't say I can have an open spaces committee and have a separate committee for the green. It's all the open spaces, I would have thought. And this occurs in lots of other things.
So as Miles suggested,
Can you hear?
Philip, you were proposing that we
reaffirm the committees and their terms of reference.
Does that have second vote? All those in favour? Item 9 to propose by 2 members to represent the parish council.
Can I come in? I'll just let me look at my minutes. We agreed this at the last meeting we had at minutes. Bear with me 1 second, please.
We did agree it, Stuart.
We agreed this at minute 254:16. And the reason I put it on April's meeting was, and I spoke to the clerk about it, is because if we was to go through the process now, we might be late catching South Yorkshire branch and nominations for the executive. I spoke to the clerk and says we've no need to have this on because we've already done it and we've already agreed and resolved it in council. However, the clerk insisted on putting it on because it's on every year on the agenda. We don't need it on once we've done it.
Clarification from the clerk is that YLCA asked us to put it on the agenda. So
We did. We put it on the agenda last month.
at the end.
Right, we put it on the agenda last month. It was agreed and done. So all we're doing now is just going over old ground.
Can I have a proposal to reaffirm? Thank you, Richard. Thanks, Phil. All those in favour? Thank you. Okay, yeah. All right, thanks.
Like overturn it for 6 months.
Okay, to receive information for the safe custody of deeds and trust instruments which are currently left with Islands and Clark solicitors.
So can I just ask them? Sorry, somebody have their hand up.
Miles was, you're proposing.
Right. So can I just ask them? It says here to receive information on the safe
Speak
custody.
into the mic, please.
To receive information on the safe custody of deeds. Well, if there's no information to receive, why is it on us to receive information?
I'm going to make a record.
Confirmation from the clerk is that there's nothing that we need to receive. So we're happy to, if there's nothing that we need to do, happy to move on. Item 11, to confirm Standing Orders 2016 issue 1.
Opposed?
Opposed?
Yep.
Seconded? Philip, do you want to speak?
I do actually, yes.
Okay.
We resolved some time ago to replace item number 108 with instructions issued by NAUC regarding public participation, photographing, etc. of meetings. Doesn't look to me as though it was ever done. Can that be confirmed at all? Or?
Can you just, sorry, the clerk didn't hear you. Can you just say that again?
4th of May last year, we resolved to remove Standing Order number 108 and replace it with the policy as dictated by NAUC, which had changed.
Yeah. Okay, are we, I'll propose that we confirm the Standing Orders with that amendment. Are we okay to do that? Are we happy to amend that proposal? Great. Stuart, do you want to speak?
Well, first off is if, just for confirmation, are you saying we agreed this before in a meeting? Yeah. Right, so first thing off is, if we've passed a resolution in a meeting, council should expect that that action's been taken, which it obviously hasn't. Can I just remind, and I don't know how you're going to do this, Drew, if we wish to make any amendments at all to standing orders, it will have to be put as a proposal today and then left for 1 full month until we come to the next meeting, and that's when we will vote. We either propose now and have a discussion, or we go to the next meeting, or we propose now, we go to the next meeting and have a discussion and vote. If there's any changes to standing orders, has to have a month notification for all councillors.
This is already stood.
What I'm not sure of is whether the annual general meeting, if we move that this was correct at the last annual general meeting and that resolution had been passed before the last general meeting, does the resolution at the annual general meeting override the decision already taken? Because if it does, there's another one. Because we also resolved to allow a question from anybody not just from an elector of the parish, and that change has never been made either.
It's basically
But that again was before the last annual general meeting when this version was accepted.
so Michael hasn't.
So is
updated
it,
the text,
you know, does one rescind the other, or awkward?
Can I make a suggestion to move on?
It's already been changed.
Chair, can I make a suggestion to move on? Let's vote on the standing orders as is, and if councillors have got any changes or are aware of any changes that need to do, is to put it onto the next agenda where we will have the proper discussion of altering. I think we're going to have to alter the standing orders because I can understand what Philip's saying, but we've got ambiguity again of what's happened or not happened. So if there's an issue that needs changing, maybe it's better to get it on a separate agenda, get it discussed properly and come up with a sensible answer and solution. So can I propose that we confirm standing orders as is at present?
We've got proposals already.
Not for the whole
The
lot.
standing orders as is what's been agreed beforehand. But you can't go back retrospectively and say, I'm sorry, we're not doing that now. You've already done it. You've already included these changes. And so they are part of standing orders.
They just haven't been documented.
But if you've got to have a month's notice, you've got to put it on the next agenda.
Jonathan, did you want to speak?
I thought we already had a proposal and second for this item. Anyway.
It needs to go on the record.
Proposed it. We did actually, but Stuart then proposed.
Propose
a
again.
change.
No. Got two proposals.
Can I just come back in again? Right, this is the problem we have round this table, is we're struggling to come together to make a decision. It's a simple case is, you either have to adopt the standing orders now, as they are at present, or you can have a big discussion of whether these amendments were done or not. But you've got to make a decision either way. Just by going backwards and forwards doesn't resolve it.
Take it to
Chair,
vote
I've already
instead of-
proposed that we accept them and we've got a seconder, so that demands a vote.
Okay, move to the vote. All those in favour? That's enough for a majority, thanks. Confirm financial regulations, issue 3.4. Motion seconder?
Because we're
All those in
maximum
favour?
foresters. I
To
made
approve the
you
internal audit review plan and confirm the internal auditor. You're proposing the same. We've been through all of this before at a previous meeting.
I
All those
can't
in
hear,
favour?
sorry.
Sorry?
I can't hear.
Financial
We went through this at the meeting with Michael.
Yes.
Yeah. All those in favour? 14, to confirm the clerk's delegated powers, issue 7.
Can I just,
We do actually, yeah, carry on.
yeah, I just want to come in, and I want to try and clarify something, but if I'm wrong, please speak up. The other night in a meeting, we had a discussion on what were the clerk's powers in relation to spending. And I think the general assumption was, myself included, that the clerk could spend up to £600. I've reread the notice again today, and I think it could be a case of the clerk is authorised to spend £600, up to £600 on an ongoing project. So we probably need to have that clarified. I'm just saying, that's what I'm saying, I'm not, am I right? Yeah.
Anna believes it to be...
I'm not disagreeing, I'm just saying that we was of the assumption of 600. What I'm saying is I don't believe that's true. Well, that's what we were assuming. So the idea is we need to find out definitely what the actual clerk's power of spending is. So it enables the clerk to spend on,
Can you hear?
say, day-to-day products.
Public can't hear, Stuart.
Sorry.
Could you say it again?
I've forgotten what I said. Let me think,
How much
right.
the clerk's allowed to spend?
We're on about, at a recent meeting, we were discussing how much spending power the clerk had on her own.
Sorry, it does say 600 in the October 2014.
Is that for ongoing?
delegated powers.
Is that for
That's all
ongoing
right.
projects?
You're
Status quo, yes.
Move on.
Status quo.
Sorry, if I just move on, I want clarification. Is that's for ongoing projects? Is that correct? Right. So let's give you an example of an ongoing project. Let's just say we decide we're going to have the hall painted, and we allocate £300. If for any reason then the bill we need to go get more paint, and it's going to cost another £300. The clerk is then delegated to authorise that expenditure for that ongoing project. The thing I'm trying to get the point out is, the clerk has certain powers to spend money on a daily basis, I believe. What is that figure? Now the clerk says 500. I'm not arguing against that, I don't know. No, that 600 there is for ongoing projects.
No, actually it's not. It's expenditure up to £600 for costs incidental to ongoing projects already authorised by the council.
Ongoing projects.
Or other ongoing work, or minor repairs to facilities subject to the
Right,
correct
got there.
or
Right, that's it, we got there. That's what I wanted, was clarification, because I was saying I
What do you
wasn't
need
understanding.
Clarification, it's written down, do you?
Clerk delegated powers, we have a proposer and a seconder. Thank you very much. All those in favour? Thank you. Approve issuing the polling cards if an election were to be called during the year. Proposer and seconder. All those in favour? Is that a question?
No, it was a proposal
All those in
second.
favour? Thank you.
I didn't even get a chance to speak, Chair.
I wasn't
Okay,
aware
just,
that you wanted to speak.
I had my hand up, obviously we need to put it right up. The vote's done now, but just let me aware, you've just voted for something, and I hope you're all aware there's an actual cost to that, but the vote's been taken.
Chair, but there's only polling cards when it's an election regarding the council. It's not for national. Well, then.
We didn't say it was, I'm just pointing
Oh,
out
right,
that
okay.
we've just voted,
Okay.
and there's a cost to what we've just voted for.
Yeah.
And I was just making councillors aware there's a cost.
We've always taken that.
Well, you know there's a cost for experience. They don't.
Approve it. Okay, item 16, to read the chairman's allowance, currently £200. Is that a question or a proposal, Mr. Chairman?
Well, I'm going to, a question, where it's going to be a point of view, and it was going to be a proposal. Right. Chairman's allowance, every year I bring this up, I think. We allow the chairman a sum of currently £200 every year to pay for, shall we say, incidentals that relate to the chairman's dealing with issues of the council. Like if he's invited somewhere in his official capacity, he has certain powers to spend certain money. The money is always authorised by council, either before or after the event. I don't believe we've ever spent, or sorry, the chairman has never ever spent £200. So I'm, sorry? All right, I might be wrong on the figures, but what I'm saying, I don't believe, I can't remember an example. So anyway, I'm going to propose.
Yeah, the only two items of expenditure this year under the chairman's allowance were the remembrance wreaths.
Could you speak up, please?
The remembrance wreaths, the wreaths for Remembrance Day, and the awards night. And on the awards night, we just gave out certificates to them this year rather than.
I didn't finish.
Rather than trophies or plaques or anything like that, we just gave out.
I didn't finish because I was going to make a proposal.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt you, Chair, but right. So my proposal is that this year the chairman's allowance goes down to £100. If the chairman, for whatever reason, does need more, he can come back to the council and up. Let's say, for instance, if he spends £100 in the first few months, he can come back and ask for more. So my proposal is that the chairman's allowance be reduced to £100 this year.
Chair, if the
Councillor Manship's already made a proposal.
Sorry, Mark, I didn't hear you.
He was.
I was speaking at
Could you
see where this is going tonight,
please?
can't we?
So I would like to second Councillor Manship's proposal.
Councillor Manship, can you restate your original proposal?
accept the £200. You seconded that.
Right. Just hang on a minute. I can see where this is going tonight. Every time I say something, Councillor Ireland Jr. seems to be going against it. I put my hand up to speak. I spoke, and you allowed me permission to speak. I was interrupted. Sorry, will everybody else just be quiet while I'm speaking? I was interrupted and I wasn't allowed.
We have an understanding on the point of order.
Right, so how come then when I stand up on a point of order, nobody else shuts up? Right, I proposed before Councillor Manship did, because I had the floor. We've now got another mess up going on.
I was set aside of Councillor Manship, and so within the rightly so, he kept turning straight round, and he says, I propose to keep it at that, and he said it straight away before anyone else came in, and it was a proposal. Can we carry on with that proposal, please? What was on the table?
In that case, before he should put his
Ladies and gentlemen, please.
he should put his hand up before he speaks.
The clerk and I didn't hear Martin's original proposal, I'm afraid. So, if you're happy for that to happen, Miles.
Thank you, Miles.
Thank you. That helps to move things forward. I noticed that Colin wants to speak, and Christine, did you want to speak as well? No? Colin?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The reason I would keep it on the council.
Can't hear you, Colin.
Ladies and gentlemen, please.
And if it's...
If you don't want to continually be told, then use the microphones.
1, 2, 3, 4 microphones between.
The reason
1, 2, 3, 4.
I would vote to keep it at £200 is I also distinctly remember that before Christmas we agreed to spend just over £100 on a meal for the staff.
Yes.
Right, and that is, and to me, that is the sort of expense that I think the chairman's allowance should go for. As you rightly say, for the remembrance wreath and things like that. I disagree wholeheartedly with saying it's £100, you can come back. Let's keep it at £200, and then if you don't spend it, it can go into next year's.
Yeah. Any other? Christine?
I was under the impression that when the question came up about paying for a staff Christmas dinner, that the chairman was going to use his allowance as part of that, or all of that. Is that right or wrong? Can anybody remember?
Yes, it was.
Sorry?
It was correct.
It's correct. He did use it for that purpose.
It was we've got Councillor Graham wanting to...
You need the microphone,
Yes.
Councillor Graham.
Councillor Graham doesn't need the
It
microphone.
won't go. It won't go on the record if you don't.
Right, the recording will now take place of my voice expressing the displeasure at the fact that this is not an item on the agenda to discuss the staff meal. We are discussing at the moment the chairman's allowance, which was used for the staff meal. Yes or no? It was. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Can't hear you.
Can we take to the vote, please?
Yes, proceed to the vote.
Can I just
Oh, no, we need to
I get
second.
last say on that. Right. Because, just, can you be quiet please while I'm speaking? Right, because we're just descending into chaos. Councillors are struggling to even have a fair discussion over a very simple issue. I'm going to withdraw my proposal of reducing it to 100 because I just don't think it's worth the arguments that's going on.
We're at the vote.
Do we want? Not bothered.
Let's be withdrawn.
Okay, it has been seconded, it's withdrawn. Can I have any proposal, please? Thank you. Does that have a second?
second, yeah.
Phil, thank you. All those in favour? Thank you. To agree members' allowance scheme as laid down by RMBC. Neil.
Councillor, we've been self-speaking to the microphone, but we can't even hear when members of the public are constantly whittering of everything we are discussing here. All I can hear in my right is a lady in me think, can we just have a bit more respect for us like we are for the public, please?
Members of the
Yes.
public, can I ask that you keep the noise levels right now, please?
Other people do it. Right, can I just come in because we don't. You brought it onto this item and nobody seems to be doing anything. Can I just say this is a member's allowance? I looked through. I think there's 2 documents that refer to this tonight. So which document are we dealing with? Because one of the documents says that all councillors can receive the sum of £12,000.
It's the parish council, it's nil.
Well, I know that, you know that, but if you vote for that, if you vote tonight based on that document is wrong.
Can I propose that we delete reference to the RMBC policy and we just set the parish council allowance at nil?
Yeah. Actually, you could do that because the RMB policy lays down the mileage allowances, etc.
Could you use the microphone, please?
I'm just explaining to this chap at the moment. Whereas the parish one relates purely to, you know, no remuneration. So they both apply. That's what I'm saying.
So what we would normally do is always vote on, if somebody was attending a function, something like that, we would vote on it. I suppose we could authorise individual expenditure at that point.
Automatically, every month, they're authorised mileage allowances.
Are you proposing something there, Vic?
I'm not sure. Let's listen to what this gentleman has to say.
Right. It's become quite clear. We've been asked to vote on a document and to approve a well, I presume it's approving a document. That document is a document that was written by RMBC, and most of the information, the orders, the instructions, etc., all relate to RMBC Council. What we actually need, and we should have, we haven't got, is we need a policy or a document written that where it says RMBC will do this. No, we need a document written up that says the parish council will do this. We're voting on somebody else's document.
Actually, I've just proposed that we delete reference to RMBC and that we set the allowance at nil. We could amend that to include Philip's comments with the exception of reasonable travel expenses or something like that.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying, but the point I'm making again is, yes, we could say we'll delete RMBC references, but there's a lot more. There's a line in there that says all councillors will be entitled to £12,000 a year. Now, if you delete the words RMBC, that sentence is still going to be in. The point I'm making is, we should have our own written policy or document.
You said nil.
Where he said nil.
You said nil, you've already said it.
Has your proposal been seconded?
No.
Well, I'm seconding your proposal.
So the proposal for record is that we delete all reference to the RMBC members allowance scheme. We set the allowance for members at nil, and based on Philip's suggestions there, we say with the exception of reasonable travel expenses as determined by the council. And then we can put on the further agenda.
No, I certainly wouldn't vote for that because it's a document then that's open to interpretation, I think.
Can you hear? No. Public can't hear.
I was in discussion.
This is a public meeting then. We're all supposed to hear.
Right. That's really... All I'm saying is that if we vote to tinker with it, then we leave ourselves open to interpretation at a later stage. Whereas if we have a definitive document sourced directly for us, then that has, I think, more legal or positive standing.
Yeah, can I just say that we move on and take the vote, because I'm not unaware of anybody trying to steal £12,000.
We don't have £12,000. That's the move to proceed to the vote. Is that the second? Miles, second.
Can I just say, it states quite clearly, item 17, to agree members' allowance scheme as laid down by RMBC, section 7 and 8, for Borough, Reed Parish. How difficult can it be?
Can we proceed to the vote on this original? All those in favour?
There is the document already that relates to it.
So we've got 6. All those against? Thank you. 18, to confirm publication scheme under the Freedom of Information Act 2000.
Sorry, is that carried, was it?
That was carried. Stuart?
Right. This publication scheme, I'd like to ask, can any other councillor tell me what the publication scheme is? Miles, have a go at this one. I don't know what it is verbatim, but I know what it is. It's all to do with publishing things on the website. I know what it is. I know what it is. The reason I was asking is because there was a lot of blank looks around the table, and I thought we was going to go to the vote without people knowing what it was.
There are statutory requirements for some documents and items of expenditure that we must publish. There are some decisions, obviously, that we must publish. There are various obligations placed on us by the Data Protection Act. Ms. Clark and I have familiar with the provisions of the Act.
No,
I haven't heard a proposer or a seconder yet.
I'll propose it.
Thank you. Seconded, thanks. All those in favour? Thank you. Confirm the safety policy statement, Chairman to sign. Seconder. Diane, thank you. All those in favour? And to confirm the operational risk assessment.
You mentioned it gets updated every year, don't it? And stuff like that, there's risk assessment.
Maxwell, please.
So everything else, every year when we get new equipment and things like that, the risk assessment, they'll add to it, won't we, and amend as and when needed. Yeah.
That's not what it is.
Yeah. Just thinking of the new equipment.
I just come in, Chair. I don't believe that's what it is. The operational risk assessment is if you remember rightly, we were given a document about a month ago, and it was the one that it asks certain questions, and then there's answers in the middle that gives us, it's quite hard to explain. Basically, it's not what we do when we get new equipment, it's how we look at our risk assessment for savings, how we look at our insurance risk assessments, various things. So there's nothing to do with new equipment.
It does refer to accidents.
We didn't do that.
We have a separate risk management system for an electronic system. We have a separate electronic risk management system for those items that you mentioned now. So this isn't the operating level. So say, for example, changing the clerk with Anna's appointment, it's changing insurance cover, it's anything that's sort of the higher level. It's available here.
Yeah.
Jonathan.
I read a proposal. I propose that we confirm the operational risk assessment.
Seconded. All those in favour? Thanks very much. 21 to receive.
Was that carried through?
Yes. To receive internal audit reports dated November 2016, April 2017. Received, Chair. Thank you. Seconder? Thank you. All those in favour? B, to authorise accounts for the year end of 31st of March 2017. Thanks very much. Thank you. Stuart?
Was that a proposal and a seconder?
Yes, it was.
Right. The reason I've put my hand up is, these are the accounts that gives us end of year figures. We just had a finance meeting last week, and we agreed the accounts for year end at that finance meeting. However, with the exception of the gentleman sat next to me, who I know knew what the end of year figure was, when we had the finance meeting, and again tonight without no discussion, councillors were going to vote on accepting the accounts for the year end, but what the glaring mistake is, I believe, is there was a surplus of a massive £26,000, and that's on top of the surplus we had the previous year at 28,000. I actually believe the true surplus on the general account is 36,000, but that's just a matter of opinion. We're having councillors discussing finance, and they're not talking about massive financial interests.
Would anyone like to raise a point?
Yeah, I agree that, but I think everybody gets those papers, but this item is to sign off the accounts, not to discuss the surplus and what we do with it. So can I propose that we accept it?
It's already proposed and seconded.
Oh, did it get done?
Yes, just for
Yeah.
discussion. Yeah.
Can we just take it to the vote?
Proceed to the vote?
Yeah.
Nobody else wants to speak? Okay.
I was
Yeah,
going,
You're only for this and speak.
I was there first, Stuart. I want to ask,
The point I was making was, it wasn't a case of whether we was over, under or anything. The point I was making was, we had a discussion, or sort of discussion around the table, and nobody mentioned the fact that we'd come under budget by such a massive amount. Now, if nobody's mentioning that, I presume nobody realised it, with the exception of one
The
person.
point of personal explanation. Okay, I have the account here. If anyone wants to,
Point of order, Chair.
John.
You're only allowed to speak once a proposal's been put forward. That's standing orders.
It wasn't pointed, it was personal explanation that he was
Okay,
speaking.
yeah, all right.
Well,
Personal
I accept the fact what Councillor Allen said.
microphone, please.
Can we proceed to the vote?
Right, I'll accept what Councillor Ireland just said, and by the way, Councillor Ireland Junior, and I use that not as a derogatory term, you just made a comment when I started speaking. If you want to start making comments or derogatory comments of me in meetings, I will report you to the Standards Committee.
Chair, it's wrong. I made the comment, not him.
Is that true?
Yes, I made
Right, if that's the case, just let me finish. If that's the case, I heard the voice and I assumed it was Councillor Ireland Junior. If it wasn't, I will apologise where I'm wrong. But even then, the comment should have been made by you, John, in the first place.
It's a really quick one. That if I've done anything wrong as a councillor, then I deserve reporting to the Standards Committee. So I would encourage anyone to report me.
I speak out of exasperation.
Thank you.
And can we go to the vote?
Can we proceed?
Yeah.
to the vote?
Definitely can see where this is going to make
All those in favour? Thank you.
Keep me down.
Just again, Chair, can I just stand on a, well, I can stand. Right, we've just had a vote, and jokingly, I didn't see who it was. One or two councillors just said they didn't understand what they was voting for. The thing is, if we're going to vote for things, we need to be clear of what the proposal is. Because if councillors don't understand it, I'm not going at councillors, what we vote, why we're voting, we need to have a clear instruction of what we're voting for.
That's written down in the agenda.
To agree or approve declarations to the annual governance statement 2016-17, section 1, items 1 to 8 and item 9. Jonathan?
Yeah, I propose we agree and approve it.
Second. All those in favour? Item D, to agree or approve the accounting statements 2016-17, section 2 of the annual report.
Go on, you have it.
Proposed to receive? Seconded? Comments, questions? All those in favour? Thank you. Okay, E, to receive the annual internal audit report 2016-17, section 4 of the annual return. Seconded. All those in favour? Thank you. To approve notice of date of commencement of the period of exercise of public rights, 5th of June.
Chair, I don't understand what this means.
Sorry?
What does it mean?
To approve notice of date of commencement of
Could you
period...
speak up, please?
To approve notice of date of commencement of period for the exercise of public rights, 5th of June.
30 days. Opening the books. Michael says what
So clarification from the clerk, that's the date that it needs to be published for the auditor.
Great. I'm just going to, thanks for my help.
what was just said there?
I propose we approve.
I thought that was on the open book, 30 days. It has to be published, but...
Can't hear you, Clive.
It's all right, Christine. It's
So that people can, so it has to be published, but so that people can come and see it, isn't it? Members of the public.
Can I just come in, Clive? Chairman.
Record microphone.
I've got the microphone, I was speaking into it.
I don't
The
mean
question-
you, Stuart.
So the question I need to ask is, you've said it's to open something. To open what?
The accounts for public.
Public inspection.
Right, it's to open the accounts for public examination. And Clive's just said it's for a period of 30 days, and I think he's right, so I'll agree with what he said. It's, again, we were going to vote on something, nobody knew what they were talking about.
I don't like the presumptions. Chair.
Well,
I'm not liking the presumptions at the moment, Chair.
well,
Proposed last year. Just because we're not focused, so it's necessarily need.
Could you use the microphone, please? We can't hear anyway.
Sorry,
you have
can't hear people
you wouldn't mind
talking.
using the
Can't hear him anyway.
Just like to say that I'm not a fan of the the idea, the presumption that we don't know what's happening at the moment. It's because we're not talking on the topic does not mean we don't know what's happening at the topic.
Well, I don't know,
Please speak up.
but I do now, because somebody asked for clarification. So don't assume that everybody knows either,
You
Miles.
can ask for that, though, not have it imposed upon you.
Microphone.
Clive,
Right.
Jonathan.
Right, answer me this honestly then, Miles. Did you honestly know what that proposal was about?
Yes, because we talked about it at
Very
length.
good, all right. So I will say then that you're one of the very few, I presume, and I do presume, because I can't read people's mind, that most people around here didn't know. Now, the other point I was making is, right, the other point I was making was, the client...
Ladies,
Yes, well, you want to see what's going up at the end of this
I
day.
propose it.
councillors and members of the public, I won't remind everyone again.
Not while the meeting's going on, thank you, John. One meeting at a time, not two.
Sit down.
Do you mind not striking them?
That was an accident, Jonathan. I'm very sorry. Don't shush me. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. What don't you understand? I don't care.
I knew.
I
I made a
didn't
proposal.
know.
You should have done, Christine, you were at the
That we
meeting
approve
last
this.
week.
Right.
Chairman, which was about 10 minutes ago.
Right,
We should
just
get back-
before we
should
go
get
any
back to,
further, I was speaking.
voting. We just need a second.
Yes, I do, because what's happening is...
They've already arranged it, Jonathan.
That's the time.
It's exasperating. No, this is going on.
Members of the public mustn't speak. Councillors need to listen to other councillors.
Some councillors don't listen. They don't.
Right, I shall keep it brief. I shall keep it brief, because yet again we've just descended into chaos. I heard the clerk say something to the chairman, and the chairman reiterated that information. At the time it was said, I didn't believe it was right or correct. That's no reflection on nobody, and that's why I was asking for clarification, because it's important that when we vote for things around this table, some have financial consequences and others don't, but it's important that we understand as councillors what we're voting for and what we're talking about.
Can I just make one final point? Can I just say, the councillors that were at the finance meeting last week have got no excuse for not understanding what was said, because we had a discussion about it. Some councillors choose to keep talking while we're discussing things, and that's the reason they don't hear it or understand it. It was spelt out by Michael quite clearly last week what it was, and so there's no excuse. So saying I didn't understand it or whatever means you weren't listening in my book.
I'm not there.
Members of the public, can I remind members of the public, I will eject members of the public if they continue to interrupt the meeting. Diane, and then John.
Yeah, that's fine.
Are we happy to vote? It's been proposed, it's been seconded.
Yes.
All those in favour of accepting that item? Okay, thank you. Item 22, which debate ensues, to approve the annual awards evening. Jonathan, you've got your hand up?
I propose that we approve the annual awards evening on the same terms as last year.
Join together.
Well,
Okay.
because they know it doesn't matter.
So it's proposed and it's seconded. Now members can speak on the item once, please, on the item. Stuart?
Right. The proposal's been made, it's been seconded, and we now have a discussion once round the table. Can I ask the question of the proposer, through the chair, how much this event is going to cost? Sorry, you did not hear the question?
No, I didn't actually.
Right, I said, could I ask the proposer, through the chair, what the actual cost of the event will be?
It's in the budget.
Well, last year, it's over budget.
What are you muttering at, Miles?
Well, just for clarification, if you say in the budget, right, if you say in the budget, what we do is
Well, how do I know?
Ladies and gentlemen, please, we can...
Shut up, Ben.
Right, we have people wanting to speak. Clive, Christine, Miles.
I didn't finish speaking. I was interrupted again. Yes, we have a budget for the annual awards, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's what the costings are. If we're going to approve something that involves finance in this meeting, we should know what the cost is for us to enable us to make an informed decision. But not only have we not got the costings, what's the format? Nobody knows what the format is. Nobody knows who, why, where, or when. Who, why, where, or when.
No, I'm just going to reiterate. We said, I can't remember the budget figure for it, but we did set it again last year. I mean, anybody's got a budget. If you work to it, you don't set out to go above it. You work below it. We've not been able to organise the awards. Well, the awards evening was delayed until February, so that's not going to take place till later in the year when we do the allotments, etc., etc. And we've not got round to the quiz night because we normally hold it at the cricket club, and that's still under renovation work, etc. So we've not decided on a venue for it yet, and I'm sure the clerk and senior administrator and chairman have not got round to doing that yet, but I'm sure it will be sorted out. We did look at rolling into one event, I think, at one time. Now, whether that's feasible or not is something we need to look at. But if we've got a budget, we work below it, we don't go above it.
Chair, last year...
Sorry, that's going to go in order. Sorry, John. Okay. Christine?
Pass. Pass. Councillor Jepson's answered for me, thank you.
Really, to agree with Clive, what was just said, I couldn't give you the figures off the top of my head right now. 'Cause we went through quite a lot. We have budgeted for it. I do realise that last time we did go over budget, but I think that was because of short notice. Because of it, I think something along those lines. It wasn't. But now we're aware of it, we can plan in advance and we can try and tailor to the budget.
Nice. Right, last year we did combine both events. We had the presentation night and the quiz night on the same night. And probably the reason why a lot of people don't know what happened, only 3 councillors came. But it was very successful, and I think we presented ourselves quite well, which we were supposed to do, I think. Yeah, switch on.
No.
Switch it on. Yeah, you're on. You're on.
Right, the reason so few councillors came was because of the late notification, the late arrangements and the notification to recipients. This was all due to the fact that things got rather muddled and notices were not sent out in time for councillors to make arrangements. That is why there were so few councillors in attendance.
But Chair, we all knew it was going to happen. We all knew it was going to happen before we got the letters. We agreed it here.
Excuse me. Could you get in the queue?
It's on a point of order, Chair. Right, my point of order is, Councillor Island Senior, just seconds ago, minutes ago, they were on about people following standing orders and not being allowed to speak. We've had a proposer and a seconder. It goes round the table. You've just interrupted and tried to speak again, so you're not following the standing orders, you're asking other people to do.
Yeah, I'll follow your example, Stuart.
Right, Chair. We're under code of conduct around this table. I made a valid point. I didn't make it aggressively or anything like that. And I had a comment come back from that councillor. So through the chair, can you ask that councillor to make an apology?
I'm afraid I didn't hear, but...
I can't apologise for what you didn't hear, can I?
You can apologise to me if you like.
You see, now you're just being facetious. That's the problem.
That chance.
This is the problem, you see. If councillors start acting like councillors, we won't have these problems.
Are we having proposal in a second, yeah? A lot of three minutes. Let's get on with it. Let's proceed about to speak.
We're allowed to speak first, if you don't mind. Follow the proceedings. The reason this councillor didn't come to the awards and the quiz night is because I condemn the complete waste of money. If people want to go to either of those events, they should pay for their own food and drink and not expect members of the public to subsidise it.
I was just going to say the same thing.
Okay, thank you. So it's proposed, it's seconded. Are we happy with what we're voting for? Yeah. Okay. Item 22, all those in favour? Okay. Item 23, very similar discussion. Proposal seconded, okay. Thank you very much.
I would like to speak.
Yep.
This is the same issue with the quiz night. Again, how much is this going to cost? Nobody knows. What's the format? Where's the teams? Where's it going to be held? We're all assuming a lot. We're sat here, we're going to authorise some form of finance that we don't know, and you're just going to put your hands up and do it. Yeah, Philip, you're going to have a go.
The whole process.
Richard, Miles, Ben.
The whole process of the budget is to put sums of money forward. We don't know at the time how we're going to spend it exactly. Budget allocations have been made to both of these functions. It's not relevant how, where, or when we're going to have it, or whatever. The fact is, this is to approve that we intend to have one during the budgetary period.
I agree. Yeah.
Exactly what I was going to say. Yeah. Miles, exactly the same. No need, we're done. Okay.
Very well simplified, thank you.
Anybody else? Can I have all those in favour? Thank you. 24, we're there. To resolve to adjourn the meeting to allow for public session. So public session, it's a short presentation from guest speakers. I think we have one about Southampton. Do you want to do it under this item? Yeah.
Thanks. Hello. Hi. Can everybody hear me? Yeah. Right. My name's Emma O'Rourke. I live in Southampton. I've lived there all my life. I've come for some advice today. I've spoke to Drew about it already. I'm wanting to get a pedestrian crossing up on Sheffield Road for the school there. A few years ago I did a campaign to try and get one, and what they did then was put in double yellow lines up there. If you go up there you can have a look. They put double yellow lines up there, and the problem what that has happened now is it's made it a bit of a rat run down there. So it's actually even more dangerous than what it was before. We're the only school that's not got anything. We've got one small sign saying school, and that's it. There's nothing else saying slow down, school children, a pedestrian crossing. We're not going to get a lollipop lady because there's not enough people who use that road. But I have to go out into the middle of the road to cross my children, from one side to the other. There's a big bush there. It's really, really dangerous, and there's something going to happen on that road, and I don't want to wait for something to happen. I want to get something sorted first, and I'm just wanting the advice of the councillors to help me with what to do with that. That's what I want, please. That's it. Yeah, it's at Anston Hill Crest School, and it's round the corner of the church, and it's where, from the burial ground, coming round that corner. it's still a 30 miles an hour, but they're speeding round that corner. And, yeah, that's right. I tried to organise that, and the councillor had come out and helped me, but the only resolution we got from that was double yellow lines, because there were cars parked there, which was a good resolution, but the problem of that now is that it's made it quicker. Everyone's coming round that corner quicker. And there's just nothing there. There's nothing there, and we're the only school in South Yorkshire, I think, that's got nothing letting people know that there's a school there. So,
I think if I could just answer Emma, but one of the problems you've got on this is that the road safety department go and do a survey on the road. The thing is that so many people collect the kids in cars now, they in fact are usually the ones that are causing the most danger, the people collecting the kids. And the police weigh up the amount of traffic and the amount of children crossing. So you have uphill battle for a start. But it's not just road safety as well, it's people's will and people's money. You won't get a lollipop man, because we're cutting them down all over, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're stopping having them. But I agree with you, every effort should be due to make a pedestrian crossing. There's nothing, it's a blind bend, and people still come round at over 30 miles an hour, and I don't think the limit's small enough. You're never going to get the police to come anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's first time been 6 months.
Right, can I just say, the issues you're bringing up are technically not parish council issues, they're highways department issues at RMBC. They're the first port of call for that. However, sorry, do you mind not speaking when I'm speaking? However, saying that, it's good that you bring it to our attention. I know that at least one RMBC councillor, Clive, he brings these issues up regular on the transport meetings on Anston. My impression from Clive's feedback and documents, etc. I see, is Anston really struggles to get heard by RMBC on transport issues, road issues, and they're very reluctant to do anything in this village for us. A zebra crossing, one of the reasons why they're very hard to get is for a pelican crossing, that's just with the Belisha beacons.
Can I ask them
Right.
not to speak?
What I'm saying is not rubbish. Oh, sorry. Right. A crossing with a Belisha beacon costs approximately £30,000.
This is not. This is a member of the public trying to get an answer. It's absolutely so rude. It's unbelievable. I mean, the ladies come down here to ask us for help. I'm quite prepared to speak outside the meeting if I can do anything to help.
Can I just carry on, Clive? Just let me carry on. Let me just carry on. Right. So I'll go quickly because everybody's trying to jump in and not take it in order. Right. A Belisha beacon will cost about £30,000 approximately. The one way of the push button ones, the pedestrians, you're looking at 50,000 plus. Now, one of the reasons I say get onto RMBC is the position of that corner would be quite awkward to put in a zebra crossing. It would either probably have to be halfway down the road towards Church Farm, or it would have to be further past Hawthorne Avenue. I don't think it's impossible to make a request, but I think you're on a long haul struggle. Smaller signs or small signs. Is it school signs you're asking about?
Yeah, there's one triangle sign saying school.
The other thing you can ask, and again, Clive's offered to speak to you, there are a number of signs available that are mobile, that can be put on a lamppost. It's a flashing light, and if that, should we say, is seen to be working, then the RMBC councillors, or even the parish council, can write a letter and ask for that to be made a permanent fixture. So I did, and last one was double yellow lines, which is already there. We did agree as a council, and I think we pushed it as a council to get the double yellow lines.
So we've got a couple of people wanting to come in. That was exactly the point that I wanted to make. John's going to come in a second, that as a council we can write to our MVC and at least ask as a start for better signage. John?
Yeah, I was going to say we would support Emma if, as a council, we wrote, not linked to individuals, and said we would like to support this thing, and then they know it's from us, it's from the council, and that you're supporting what she's saying. Just us talking about it doesn't mean a damn thing.
Yeah, exactly the same saying 3 points actually, Anna. First of all, it's certainly involved the ward councillors. There's one sat immediately by you and one at the end of this table, that's to them. Also, we as a parish, I think, should support that and write on your behalf outlining it. And thirdly, what about social media?
Yeah. I was going to ask. I was going to ask if you want me to try and set up a petition. If that's something that you'd want me to do, I can do things.
I organised a petition to increase the management of aspen plantation, remove quite a few of the dangerous trees. They're going to start work in 1st of September, and that's purely because I got 84 residents to sign an online petition. You go to RMBC's website, tear it through, you'll find online petitions. Fill it in and get people to sign the contract.
Right, okay.
Can I suggest it's not really an opportunity for members, all these questions in the public session go through the chair. So I've got Miles and John who just very briefly want to speak, and then we need to move on.
Yeah,
we
sure.
can't have this section taken too long. So really quickly, please, gentlemen.
Trying to do something similar wood sets on that crossing there, haven't we?
The highways is like a law upon itself, I think I'm right in saying that. We can write a letter in, but again, we would only be one voice. The more voices you get, a petition's a great idea, social media is a brilliant idea, but go beyond the school, go to the residents either side. And what is it for a petition for the council now?
It's reducing after the council meeting on Friday. The constitution of government has changed, so the number of signatures you need for a petition to be sent either to the mayor or to be discussed at full council are coming down. The numbers are going to be something stupid, like 2,500, I think it might be 600 now. So,
Gentlemen, can I remind you, please, it's not a free-for-all discussion. There are people waiting to speak. John's waiting to speak. If you have a question to ask, you ask it through the chair. Thank you, John.
The thing I would suggest, Anna, is that you give as many people, parents, to write individually, because then you might get 100 letters. And 100 letters will have some impact. And in fact, if you write them, you've got to be read out at council. That's correct, Clive? If the individual write to the RMBC, they have to be read out at council meeting.
Oh, you have to have so many signatures on the petition.
Yeah. No, not individual letters.
No, they're not read out individually, not like that.
Oh, right, okay. I should still think of them anyway.
All right, thanks very much. Then I'll talk.
Normally, these things can be approached through the head teacher and also referred to the education authority. So that's another avenue to go down, especially when you're talking about signage that is insufficient for the actual school.
Yeah, I've spoken to her already.
Move us forward, I'm sorry. Otherwise we'll be here all evening. Can I suggest then that you write to the council, that you write in, just put what you said in a letter, and then are we happy for the clerk to write to our OCC on our behalf of the council to ask for better
I understand why you're doing it, it's a bit quick, but if the letter's written to us, if we put it in front of the councillors and we have a bit of a discussion, we then between us all can formulate an answer. And then, but it will have more clout rather than just allowing the clerk to send it off, because it'll be an actual resolution. So it'll have more clout.
We'll stick it on the agenda, and then we can make a formal resolution, and we can take it forward that way. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so to allow representations regarding planning applications. Yeah?
No, I've got a question.
It is. To allow questions representations regarding planning applications. Anything about planning applications? No. C, to allow one question per elector. Opposite the parish council, on a topic which the parish council has responsibility for, which affects the parish. Okay, Kevin.
Yeah, on the last agenda, you've got a government legislation order on top stating that any members of the public would be asked to leave the meeting. Seems to have gone this week since that question last week. Can you tell me who and where you got that information?
Can I ask the clerk? Because the clerk compiles the agendas. She's just writing down your question. Standing orders. I don't have a copy of it to hand from last time. Does anybody have a copy of what was the agenda from last time? What was the question? The question was apparently the agenda. Well, I can't remember off the top of my head. Apparently the question is the last agenda. Part of the statement proceeding and the public agenda. Right, do you want to just use the microphone?
It's gone down here. I'll read it for you.
Here you go.
It says, members of the public are welcome to stay for the council meeting after the public session as observers, but will not be able to join in the discussion unless invited to do so by the chairman. That's the only thing that precedes the public session.
So there's nothing about.
There's nothing.
There's nothing about anyone.
Well, it was a meeting before.
Diane?
Yeah, sorry. Forgot one.
The agenda of the 24th of April public session, last bit says the rules applying to public participation are set out by the Parish Council, section 97 of the Standing Orders. Allows the chairman to remove the removal of any member of the public who interrupts the proceedings.
Well, the question was that it apparently appeared on the last agenda, but not on this one, whereas what you just read out appears on today's agenda. It's just outlined.
It quoted some Act of Parliament.
Yeah, that's Parliament. We were government legislation to be brought on top, but then it's public to read. But I've just got a paragraph out of that.
Okay.
I have looked it up, and as our chairman, wouldn't mind to read it to council so that they know. If you could read this paragraph.
Oops. So the item placed in front of me, it's a screenshot. It says, while the meeting is open to the public, the body shall not have power to exclude members of the public from the meeting, and duly accredited representatives of newspapers shall attend for the purpose of reporting proceedings. Those newspapers shall, so far as practicable, be afforded reasonable facilities for taking their report, unless the meeting is held to premises not belonging to the body, or not in the telephoning, or what their expense.
Never heard a word.
Let me come in on
That
this.
order states that they have not got the right to exclude the press and public.
Right, can I just come in, Chair, because I know the answer. I know the answer, right. The legislation that Mr Kavanagh is referring to is the Local Government Act 1972, and it comes under, I think it's 7 or 8 on the Local Government Act, and I think it's the one that refers to parishes and parish meetings, etc. Members of the public are allowed to attend meetings and observe meetings, and recent legislation has allowed them to film meetings. However, if you go back to that 1972 Act, go down a bit further and read it, it also makes mention that the chairman has powers to evict members of the public if they're causing a disturbance. If you recall, at the last meeting on Wednesday, there was a disturbance and 2 members of the public were asked to leave. So, yes, it's all right telling us what the legislation is or asking questions, but we need to look at it all first.
I'm sorry, we're not getting into it. We're not getting into discussion. We have standing orders. Next question. The answer to the question was that there was no change. Kevin. The answer to the question is that there's no change from the agenda from the 24th.
I'm not sure, I don't know.
I've got a copy.
I know it sounds like something can't be.
Okay, we've got a copy. Yeah.
I think it's
the last
the
agenda
chair.
is the same.
So stand up now. So stand up now.
Oh, no, I think it's one of
This is what's going on.
I have subjected the Senate Council subject to access, which, bearing in mind, there is no, as far as I can see, there is no complaint in there because of the suspension without any reason. Furthermore, the information I requested information on respect to the other contracts which are start. And not only that, you have not supplied the information which I requested. I believe I will be stating to my commercial solicitors, I will now believe that this is a constructive dismissal.
DPA can't get a contract, end of story. You're all employed with a contractor.
Mr. Thorne.
Hello.
I'll draw your attention.
I would like not to get into a discussion, please.
No, I'm just explaining something.
Through the chair. No point, you've asked a question, thank you very much.
My commercial advisors have told me that a verbal contract for over 15 years has got as much value, validity, as what a written one has, because I have got job sheets for the last 15 years from you, I have got invoices which I have sent to you, and apparently all it needs is you to ask, me to agree, me to do, you to pay contract. Thank you.
To reply to the question that was asked, so the clerk and I, myself mainly actually, with some assistance from Anna, Siobhan and Michael, prepared a subject access request for yourself. I'm not aware of any other personal information, we went through that several times, and I'm not aware of any other personal information being provided. Okay.
And to be quite honest with you, it looks like Chelsea been doing it, my children. So what you need to be asking is, why have I got information of another contract that when I ask to go? Or why have I not got a copy of the letter in full, which council notes and submitted to this council to get me suspended?
How does he know that?
Point of order, Chairman. Sorry. I think this is a personal issue. We should not be discussing it.
Ben, I quite agree with you that this is a personal issue, and this should have been sorted out a long time before it got to this stage. It's only because
Not within the remit of this council.
It's only because the council has denied it's happening, walked over it, not dealt with it properly. If I were to issue a complaint to this police officer, she would expect me, under law, to be able to see exactly what I have written. Am I correct? Thank you very much.
Can I ask a question, Mr. Pearson, and I will declare an interest. No, you see, no, you can't, I'd like to ask, right, I'd like to ask a question through the chair then, of where he got his information from, because it's confidential.
Okay. We've compiled the subject access request that you asked for.
Yes.
We are permitted to redact sections of documents where they disclose the identity of third parties. Management information is an exemption within the Act. So where the council's discussing who they should award contracts to, all the particulars, that falls under the exemption of management information. Also, the council can and is only obliged to reveal information where it exists. If that information has been deleted, if Councillor Thornton's letter didn't get to the clerk, if that resided in the at the point where the subject access request
is confidential, so how does he know?
That letter is not reaching. When Councillor Thornton on the council at several meetings, he said that he has put complaints against me.
You see, I'm being subject to a personal attack again, aren't I? Every meeting I get subject to personal attacks. Every meeting I get subject to bullying and intimidation. I get mentioned in every meeting.
We can work with you. This isn't the forum for going into that.
What forum have I got?
You just write to us. Okay, we're not getting into a discussion. Diane.
Right,
Point of order. You have asked a question. The chairman has replied to the best of his ability. Can we move on, please?
I suggest before you do that, you just ask the clerk and I for any information that you believe is missing. We did actually, we wrote to you to ask you to narrow down your search terms. You gave us a very broad
because I didn't know what information you was holding at the time.
So you believed that the
Expedition right, you've got to give him the information, you're not asking to narrow it down. You cannot authorise, you cannot authorise that action request.
Now that you have asked for a specific document,
you cannot, you cannot, right, you cannot.
Are you serious? Well, you're asking this. Don't get clever with me, I don't appreciate it.
Chair, I'm standing on a point of order. Chair, I'm standing on a point of order. Chairman, I'm standing on a point of order. We've adjourned the meeting.
One question, one answer.
We've adjourned the meeting. Now you see what happens is, when Councillor Graham stands up, you didn't make any comments at all, and as soon as I stand up, you're throwing comments. Well, it's all right, members of the public sat there, but you're not subject to verbal and aggressive abuse and threats in this council. Anyway, the point of order I'm making is this. We adjourned to take questions from the public. We're over the 20 minutes, and the person's now gone, so I think the problem's been resolved for the time being. Can we move on, please?
Yeah. So we'll go back into the meeting. I've lost it.
Do you want to ask your question? Well, it's time, won't it?
I'm afraid 5 minutes.
Not their fault, Drew.
Blame other members of the public then.
They've got valid questions to ask. Well, if you haven't time to be here, then go home. These things need coming out.
I'm going to stand up.
Councillors, will you please stop?
Right.
This is the worst meeting of
Right. Can I just say, Chair, you asked me if anybody was willing to extend the public session. Can I say, first of all, the reason why the public session is now ended is we have 20 minutes. That 20 minutes was taken up by 2 people, and that's why the other people can't speak. But I will propose... Say again, you're directing your comments at me again, Mr Kavanagh. This is part of the ongoing abuse. Can I propose, Chair? Can I propose, Chair? Can I propose, Chair? Can I propose... Can I propose, Chair, that we extend the public session for a further 10 minutes in order for other members of the public to speak?
Seconded. Seconded.
All those in favour?
In fact, I do apologise, colleagues. I can't make a proposal because we've adjourned the meeting. Can I ask members if they would extend the adjournment?
But whichever way we are in the meeting, we can raise that proposal. It is seconded. All those in favour to adjourn the meeting back into public session, extend the public session. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Against? So, for the sake of moving on, can we go back into the public session for a maximum of 5 minutes?
Whenever, I'm quite happy for them to speak because the whole time's been...
Otherwise,
With the proviso of one person speaks at a time, Mr Chairman.
With the proviso that one person speaks. Okay, we've got 5 minutes. Hillary, you want to ask any questions?
Thank you.
Adjourn, go back into public. We've adjourned and gone back into public.
Do you want the microphone?
No, I don't think I need the microphone. I can get that away.
Oh dear, but why is it we have to, excuse me?
Chairman? Well, she can say that.
Ask the question.
Could you ask the question?
She's not going to ask it while other people are
Councillors, can you please be
speaking.
quiet and allow...
Thank you. Well, you were speaking to the clock when I was going to start speaking. Now, the question is this, or the comments on this, followed by the question. Yourself and I have exchanged conversation and have exchanged emails, Chair, in which you said to me that having been down in the parish office for a number of months, you see that there are certain procedures that need implementation
we had a meeting. We had a meeting as chair of the staff.
Can I just interrupt? Sorry, Chair, can you just switch your microphones on off again?
Not that one.
There's a thumping going on.
One of the microphones is buzzing. So, the chair of the staffing committee, the clerk, and I met. I pushed my button. The three of us met and we decided to review the procedures. So actually the clerk and I have started. What we need to do first is do something called process mapping, where we map all of the processes that the council's required to carry out. So we'll create a spreadsheet. We're in the process, we started to do that, we're in the process of doing it. So what we will do, process mapping, so we will take each activity that the senior administrator, the clerk, other members of staff have to do, when they have to carry those out, and we'll map all of those processes across the year, and that will set trigger points at specific times to make sure that actions are carried out.
So you're going to be doing subject, process and outcome, are you?
Yeah, we'll do some full process mapping.
And are these, when they're completed, are they going to be put in the folder after the yellow book, and are they going to be there available for the
We
public?
also had, it's only one question, but
It's all part of
we have agreed that we'll look specifically at outcomes from the minutes and that we'll make some more detailed minutes, including the outcomes for each of the items. In fact, the clerk and I are going to talk in our section of each meeting about. So in each meeting, we'll update councillors and obviously members of the public if they're sat in the audience of all of the actions that we've carried out, and we'll ensure that they're appropriately minuted. That's the one question, I'm afraid.
And they need to be audited again.
Thank you. Other questions from members of the public? Sandra, very quickly, we've got about 2 minutes.
Right, down at Tracy, there was a committee, a working party. Clive was on it, Chris, you went to pass off, didn't you? It's down to Tracy, did you not?
No.
Anyway, Clive was on it, weren't you?
Are you listening, Jonathan?
Yeah,
She's nodding
before
at
back
you.
to the council. Right, it's been decommissioned now, Tracy, yeah.
That's news to me anyway.
Through the chair, please.
Yeah, I've actually spoke to the manager a fortnight ago, Chair, and it's been decommissioned. Now, that site is quite enormous because they own land further than what they've actually got things on. But I think it wants an eye keeping on it. We've got enough nasties in our area. Our air pollution is what we have. The air quality is atrocious. We need Rotherham. We need to know, what's going to go there. Is Safety Clean going to expand back over, or it needs an eye keeping on it because we don't want any more nasties in our area.
That question.
Yeah, I mean, the working party was down there because there was an awful lot of chemicals going in. I mean, it blew the top off. It didn't go in the papers. It was kept quiet. It blew the top off because we had a mixture of chemicals. Now, we did get a charcoal burner and another because we had the environmental health from Nottingham come down and they told us that a charcoal burner went in. Just a minute, John, this is so important.
John, for heaven's sake.
Not a question, this is a statement.
Right, I'm going to end that there. I've asked Councillor Jepson, rather, if he will reply.
You know why, Hilary? Because there haven't been any meetings, that's why I've not been to them. No, they haven't. There haven't been one for well over a year, as far as I'm aware. I am not, nobody is...
We're not getting into a discussion.
All I can say is I'm not aware that it's been decommissioned, but I will chase that up and see what... So when you say decommissioned, is it being shut down? Or is the plant being decommissioned?
It's been decommissioned.
Right, I'll chase that up. I wasn't aware of it, Sandra.
Because I think that Rotherham can't give us, and they won't take it up. When there is a pollution, it's up to the public to go and report the smell to the environmental because,
Sorry, I'm going to have to stop taking because we're having 5 minutes. So Councillor Thornton's going to respond on that. So we're back into, public session is now closed, we're back into the council meeting.
Yeah, he's a bit stuck, Sandra.
24th
Yeah.
of April 2017. Minutes of the meeting held on the 24th of April 2017.
Can I come in on page 1, and it's item 24116, planning, licensing, transport, etc. On the proposals, I'm a bit confused on this. It says proposal, the clerk to send out planning lists to all councillors, and if councillors object to an application, they are to contact the RMBC Planning Board direct. I'm afraid that's not how it works. We have the planning applications in front of us, and we make a collective decision if we want to do anything or not. Once we've made a collective decision on behalf of the council, then, if individual councillors wish to make representations, they can do. So that's not quite right.
This was between meetings, isn't it, where we're not able to...
Right. But what I'm saying is this here makes it as though we get the planning, and so it's not right. The second one is to ask Mr Gazer to also send on weekly lists. So what that's saying is, we're asking the clerk to send out the planning lists, and we're asking the RFO to send in out the weekly lists, and hence, as it happened this week, I think we've got 2 copies of the planning applications. We tried to resolve this before by saying, who sends them out? Is it the clerk or is it the RFO? And it's presumed to got confusion still.
So I think what we need there is a clarification of the minutes, isn't it? Like,
Yeah, can I just say, I'll just, everybody's probably aware, list 11, the first one on there, that's been withdrawn, so that's sorted. I think, Stuart, you can actually object as a parish council without the parish council making a resolution. That's for the parish council as a body to object. If you want to object as a resident, a parish councillor on your own, a borough councillor, etc., you can do. The formal notice is from the parish council as a body that the clerk sends off. If you want to send your own objections off as parish councillor, Philip Bowers, Richard Wilkins, you're quite at liberty to do that. You can send it off as Philip Bowers of whatever, Richard Wilkins of Yeoman's Way. You can do that. You can put 2 objections in individually and 1 as a parish council body as a whole. But what we did discuss, just for clarification, was when there's a planning application comes in between meetings and it's got a finite timescale on it, that the clerk was to send that round. If councillors have got any objections or no objections, feed it back to them, then we got a result before we had to wait for a meeting, because this is when they're slipping through and we don't get to discuss them. So that was a mechanism that we tried to set up, just for clarification.
are we happy to amend the minutes, though? That's probably the best, because I think we're all aware of the discussion that took place, but are we happy to amend those minutes?
Yeah.
Could I
To
suggest,
clarify?
I think the easy way to do it is to delete all the words after proposed up until the words carried resolved. Would that resolve it?
After proposal?
Right. I'm saying that if we delete the word proposal and all after, up until the words carried resolved, would that be right? Would that resolve the problem?
Yeah.
So I'm now proposing then to delete the word proposal and all after until the word carried resolved.
Yeah, I agree with that line. It's the first one that's the point, which is that circulation between meetings.
Right, let me come on. And the second part of my proposal is for the clerk and the RFO to liaise to work out which one's going to send out the planning applications. Okay. Did you hear the second part?
Have a second?
Did you hear the second part?
I didn't hear the second part.
My second part is that we ask the clerk and the RFO to liaise in order that we can work out who's going to send out the planning applications. That's the proposal.
Are we happy with that?
Yeah, as long as
Yeah. So we're proposing to delete where it says proposal, from proposal to carried, basically. The inclusive will be deleted from the minutes, and then we ask the clerks to liaise to decide who's going to send it out. But they've already been out. I've actually seen some of those that have been sent out to us already. Okay. Anything on page 2?
Oh, we have. Do we have to...
We'll take it all together. Anything on page 2? Page 3.
Yeah, I've got something on page 3.
Okay.
Item 258/116, to approve weatherproof notice board for the cemetery. It says, agreed, councillors and Jepson and Thornton to provide a report. And I look at you, because what report?
We were going to go around and look at the condition of the notice
Right,
board
look it up
and
then.
put a set of proposals together as to what we want to do and obtain quotes.
Right, okay, I understand what it
Okay.
says now.
Can I have a proposer and seconder subject to the amendments specified for 241/16? Thanks very much. All those in favour? Thank you. Sorry, the clerk's just amending a minute. Okay, so 27 we don't have any. 28 consider planning and licensing matters, transport issues and received reports. Planning S16, two-storey side and first floor front extensions, U3 Avenue, North Anston. Any comments? Jonathan?
When it came again to mark the list of interests,
Jonathan, should we
which is
say?
so I'm going to comply.
Okay.
I'm going to comply with standing orders and I'm going to leave the room while it's on.
Disclosure of
Yes.
interest.
I've got one.
So why has it never done it before?
U3 Avenue, one North Anston. There's a planning application there for one on that. I know that property, so.
Okay.
That's on RB 2170448. Okay, I'll come out the road. Okay.
Oh, this is the evening. Yeah. Okay. Right. Thank you very much. Any other comments?
Which one are we talking about?
Yeah,
Planning list.
We're on 0448.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right,
just
the
neighbours
two-storey
and planning.
side extension. Can I suggest, it doesn't appear to be contentious, can I suggest we leave this to the neighbours?
Could you use the last one, please?
Neighbours and planners?
Yep.
I don't think it's a contentious planning application, so I suggest that we leave it to the neighbours.
0586. Clive?
Yeah, can I speak on this, Chair? I presume members have had a look at the application and know it is on Crogate. It's for the demolition of existing stone.
Sorry
bungalow.
to interrupt, Clive. Can you just tell us whereabouts it is, where 5
It's
is?
on the left-hand side, just round the bend from High Street, number 5, Crogate, as you start going up the hill, left-hand side.
Is it the bungalow?
It's a bungalow set
Right.
up. There's two bungalows. The first one is a stone one with a double garage at the right. That's the one that's been proposed to be demolished. I'll just refer John and yourself back to 2013 when we objected to a similar proposal to build on there at number 13 Crogate, which we objected to and which was turned down subsequent to an appeal. I've had a look at the application. It's totally inappropriate. This is South Anston Conservation Area, and what they're proposing I think is totally inappropriate for that area. It's brick and render and aluminium windows to replace a stone bungalow with a pan-tile roof. As far as I'm aware, the last one got turned down because of it didn't fit in with the conservation area. My view is that the parish council, to be consistent, object to it as we did to the earlier one at number 13. If you read through it, it says it's a full two-storey. The one at the moment is a bungalow with a dormer in it, but this one is a full two-storey. It's quite a large building, probably doubles in site area of the existing property, and as I say, I think there are several reasons why we should object to this. Foremost is the fact that it is in a conservation area, and it's totally inappropriate, I think, the type of construction that's proposed. What we have here is a bit of a problem because the clerk is away, I understand, after today, and we've got 21 days for this to be discussed, and also the remaining ones, I think, particularly the one at Hillside. and also the one on Quarry House at Quarry Lane. What I'd like to suggest is that it's up to the council whether they wish to object to this particular application. I think we should, given the nature of what's been proposed and where it is. And we've still got to discuss the other two yet, but I think if it's possible for the clerk to write to RMBC and ask that our comments or objections be deferred until she returns, because I can't put the objections in on behalf of the council. It has to be the clerk that puts the objections in, or any comments we so make. So my view would be we take a decision on these three applications, but if we can contact, I think they're all Matthew Peck's, and just state the reason that we need to, we'll get back to him as soon as we return. I'm more than happy to draft out any comments or objections that the parish council has and leave them ready for Anna to send off. But I think it has to go in the clerk name in their capacities.
Does it have to go?
Not necessarily, but I think it might be better if it's goes through. I mean, if
I
you,
was not going to have any time.
I know this is
You're right
this
to
is the problem.
Siobhan. You're right to Siobhan. Siobhan can forward it on because Siobhan's standing in while Anna's away.
Well, as I say, it's up to members to take a view on this one. That's my views on this one on Crowgate.
Right, just quickly on this one. I've got concerns about when it says underground double garage. I've seen the bungalow, if it's one I think it is, and I can understand why they probably want to remove it because it's old and dated. It is in a conservation area, but what worries me is if we start digging underground in that particular type of rock formation, are we going to have more problems with things like springs? Although Southampton's not as bad as Northampton. So I have serious concerns about digging underground, and are we going to start a precedent for all the other developments around there to go underground? I don't think it's a technical thing to, we have to object only on planning grounds or planning issues. And I don't know what the rules are regarding digging underground, to be honest, but that's my main concern. Is I think it'll set a precedent for other people, but I think there might also be, should we say, mining problems.
0598.
Are we making a decision what we're doing with that?
Can we vote on them can we vote on them at the end?
Yeah. Right, do you want to speak? Can I speak on this one?
Yeah.
This is, I think it also relates to one that was passed at the end of last year, which is the one that came in front of us for a new property at the back of 3 Hillside, which is as you go up Main Street. People in the village know where Treearns Hill is and where the shop used to be. On the left-hand side, it's the old farmhouse there that's having some alterations done to it. I've had a look at it, and in my view, there's nothing really that seems untoward. It's all going to be done in keeping with the existing stonework. The entrance is going to be altered. But again, I say personally, I've got no objections to it. I don't know whether members have any feeling. It's not going to alter the access to there. It's not going to. That's been agreed for the new property that the access has got to be altered. So that's going to be done anyway. So it's really what members think about that. If anybody else wants to speak.
I'm sorry, we really extended it. So, John, did you want to speak? I saw you with the microphone.
Just a comment that I think there's no worry. There's been no worry on that particular site by Underground Spring because it's the edge of the actual fault, which has got to fall away towards Kivet Park Station. So any springs will go that way and not down the main face. It's the same fault line that goes down. It's called the Axel Fault. It goes Axel Lane, down High Street, underneath by the church, down across this carriage.
Thanks, John. So Stuart and then Dan.
I'm puzzled. I thought we were speaking about 0598, but side extensions and alterations are not, when I've looked, it's not a major contention. I agree with Clive, but it is in a conservation area, that is not. So if it's in a conservation area, it will be looked at in detail by the planners. So I'm quite happy to leave that.
And I think you've just said what Diane was going to say.
The conservation officer will look at that along with the planning officer. That's part of their remit. Yeah, I have no objection to that one.
Okay, 0655.
Just between us. from Clive?
I haven't seen it actually. I've not.
Right.
I couldn't get onto the website the other day.
I've had a look at this. So I've had a look at this one. It's let me name the house. It's what I call the modern architectural house as you're going down Quarry Lane.
Yeah.
And I think what it involves, it's a side road through there towards the back. I've looked at this from a planning perspective. I can't see any massive reason to object to it. However, I'm concerned that it's in a quite closed-in area. I don't think it's in the conservation area. I personally can't think of a reason to object, unless we just write, well, if we can't find a reason, we can't find a reason.
Thanks very much. So, from those, are we happy to leave all of them to neighbours and planners with the exception of 0586?
Yeah.
And to object on 0586. Clive, are you okay to...
Yeah, I'll draft something out and send that to Siobhan. I'll send it off to Matthew Peck as well.
In fact, the clerk is just typing it.
Bill, if you just switch the microphone off, I think the batteries are dead on that.
Yeah. Okay, can I have a second? Thanks very much. All those in favour? Thanks. We don't have any others, do we? Yeah, list 19's come through, but there's nothing for Anston. Good. 29, do you have any rights of burial or anything? No? It's always good to hear. 30, matters from previous meetings. Councillor Jepson to discuss regarding the lease.
I think this is one where we need to put it in confidential.
Proposer and seconder for that.
I'll propose it goes in for
All those in favour? That's into confidential session. B, Councillor Thornton to discuss written contracts for contracts.
Did I say at last meeting I was going to withdraw it? Right. I can't think off the top of my head why I said that. I'm happy to withdraw it.
Because of the one I'm putting in.
Right, okay then. It's been on there for months anyway, so I'm quite happy to withdraw that.
Withdraw?
Because I think Colin's got something on later that will probably overlap.
Alternatives for mole control.
Right, can I propose that goes into confidential session due to the contractual nature of the items to be discussed?
Seconded by Phil?
Yeah, seconded by me, yeah.
All those in favour? It's carried. Next one.
Can I propose that 30D goes into confidential session due to the possible contractual nature and we're discussing members of staff contractual nature to be discussed. I didn't put that right, but basically can we have it in confidential session?
Confidential session, seconded. All those in favour?
An angel.
Sorry, the limp wave again. Would you stick up your hands if you're in favour? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, thank you, that's carried. Okay, E.
Can I
Everybody agreed that it's in confidential.
right, can I propose? I was going to propose it. Somebody propose it?
Yes, Steve proposed it.
I'll second it.
All those in favour? Thank you very much. Councillor Jepson. I keep saying Jepson for some reason. I do have a bit of a cold, I apologise.
Right, I've been called worse.
It's the drink that
Take more water, hit the gym.
As long as I'm not called late for my dinner, I'm not bothered.
I do have another ear infection, so I do apologise. I'm slightly wobbly. To receive the LVP update.
Yeah, can you just bear with me, Chair, because I'm more than surprised we've actually got this far in the agenda, so it's taken me by surprise. If you just give me a couple of minutes while I plough through my
Could we just go to
notation.
Can I propose that 30G go into confidential session due to the contractual nature of the item to be discussed?
All those in favour? Okay, thank you. That's a confidential. We just got that out of the way while...
I'll get there eventually. Here we are. Yeah, sorry everybody, if I can bring you in just for 5 minutes, just to bring you up to date as to where we are with the local development plan. The planning inspector's sent his report back after he's gone through it, his initial look, and he's made some changes as to what he would like to see to the local development plan. One of the major issues that seems to have been resolved in our favour is the fact that the Todwick North site has been taken out of the development plan, and now it's down to the council obviously to find a new site for this area. If I can just read you, it says Todwick North employment site E16 and housing site H84, which was along Kiveton Lane, are deleted. The inspector considers them both too harmful to the rural setting of Todwick and the wider green belt. So that's been taken out of the equation. Councillor Thornton and I attended some of these meetings along with the clerk, and as I say, I'm pleased to say that the inspector's judged in his wisdom that this is not acceptable. So that's been taken out of it. So if I can just go through the basic information. There are only limited changes to the plan overall. The majority of the housing and employment sites have been accepted, obviously with the exception of the one at Todwick. There are no new additions as far as I can see to building on Greenbelt land in Anston. The one that's still left in the plan is the one at Pennybeat Lane, and the proposals for along the River Ryton on the A57, Woodsets Road, Rackford Road have not been included. They were proposed by developers, but they've not been included in the plan. Unfortunately, the Gypsy and Traveller site at Kiwick Park Station has been accepted by the inspector. I'm disappointed to say. I thought that he would have looked for another site for that, but obviously that he's happy to leave that in. However, having said that, I'm not giving up on that particular issue. As I say, I'm sure the council is still of the same mind as when we objected to it in the first instance, that it's not really an appropriate site for something like that. But that, as I say, that battle goes on. He's made some other comments as well. He's asked for more housing, but in other parts of the borough. It would appear that Dinnington is going to get what was promised on the original plan, which is the Thropham area and other sites. But we've not had a full anything published in full. So that's just really an update. As I say, that there are no other Greenbelt sites. There was one proposed on Sheffield Road at the back of Haven Farm, but that's been discounted, that's not been included. But a developer wanted to build between 50 and 80 properties on that. So, relatively speaking, Anston's come out of it quite well from the assault on the Greenbelt. Sorry? Nothing. That's not relevant to the local development plan. All I'm doing is, I'd say, just an update on what the inspectors sent so far. They've got to have another consultation, June, July, August, but that basically deals with areas of Wath where he's wanting further housing installed. Dinnington, the Birkdale Recreation Ground, has been removed from the wider housing site, and that's been allocated to green space. So again, that's good news from that point of view. So that's where we are at the moment. I just thought I'd give a chance to bring members up to date. So we'll wait and see what happens with regard to the Gypsy and Traveller site. I have to say that I've been in discussions with other groups and people, and they're unhappy about this decision, and we're trying to work out a formula to try and get this changed. Unfortunately, another planning application was put in for a site at Swallownest as opposed to this one, but this has been turned down by the second time by planners. But whether that will go to appeal or not, I don't know. If that had been accepted, then it would have taken the pressure off using the one at Kiveton. So we'll just have to wait. We'll just have to wait and see what happens in that respect.
Can I ask this question? The LDF or the core strategy, or whatever they're calling it again this week, do we know when the council is actually going to vote on that?
It'll be
later this year.
Later in the year. I will give you some idea.
The reason I'm asking...
The only thing I've got to is late 2017 when he issues his final report to the council. I mean, this is all public knowledge now as to what he's said. It's on the planning website and the inspectors...
The reason I'm asking... the reason I'm asking is because there was a vote in the chamber at Rotherham on, I think it was the draft proposal, And we had quite a few members of the public coming down to this meeting, arguing about the proposed Travellers site down at Kiverton. And I know yourself was against it from the very beginning. And what really irked me was, we had two Labour councillors at the time who, in this meeting, they was all against the Travellers site, and I think it was just to pacify the people that were here. And then they went to Rotherham and they voted for the draft strategy which included the Travellers site. So, if I could, Chair, through the Chair, could I ask our two borough councillors here now is how they intend to vote on that core strategy vote?
Well, you know my views on it. I shall vote against it, as I've done consistently all the way through. It's
I'm allowed to take questions from the public.
To me, that's, hang on, we're away from what it's been discussed. It's discussed and received an update. That is, can we vote on that?
Well, I think it was a fair question.
We need a vote.
I think it was a fair question because we've had a track record in the past where we have councillors who purport to represent us around this table and then go and do something completely different. I'm only asking a question. I'm not pointing fingers.
You can put that question to him.
I have done, but he's obviously don't want to answer it.
Well, I had in stereo from the public as well, so
I can ask the question again if you wish, Jonathan.
Yes.
My question is,
fire away.
which are you going to vote to accept the core strategy, the LDF or whatever they call it? Are you going to vote to accept that if it includes the Traveller site down at Kiverton?
Well, I'll let my conscience be my guide, and then I'll vote how I wish to vote.
Have you not decided after all these years, Jonathan?
That's my answer. That's my answer.
So you're not going to vote for
Can we move on to the next item?
This is unfair. This shouldn't be happening. We need to be democratic. One of the core principles of democracy is the ability to change your mind. We mustn't, in this council, start to sort of descend to the level where we start attacking people when they vote. You know, you vote, you make your decision, you vote how you're going to vote. We don't attack people for that here.
To use St John's famous phrase, shall we move on?
Just 2 minutes. Thank you.
I'm sorry, we're not going to have any more. We extended the public session, so there is a section actually for people to be able to speak in a second. I'm going to actually ask, I think we've Clive, are you happy to propose that we receive that update?
That's all I wanted to do.
I'm sorry, no. To receive the update?
Yeah, I propose, as I say, my proposal is to receive the update, and I'll bring it back again as and when anything more comes to light.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I have a second for that? Thank you very much. We have, sorry?
All those in favour?
All those in favour? Thank you. Put it quietly. So, we have to go into confidential session. We have to resolve to adjourn the meeting to allow the public to raise any issues regarding today's meeting. The clerk is actually currently on annual leave anyway, and has to leave at 5:30. Given the amount of time that we'll need for confidential session, I'd like us to resolve to adjourn the meeting in order to allow the public to raise any issues regarding today's meeting. Do I have a second for that? Okay, thank you very much. All those in favour? Have to do that now. Thank you very much.
Brian, do you want the microphone?
Do
you want to try vote on this, Mr. Chairman?
Do you want the microphone, Brian?
Just 2 minutes, just a comment. And anybody got Rotherham Advertiser last Saturday, they could read about Kevin Barron has joined Witchersley Group against all building on Greenbelt.
5 years too late.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I go back to Kevin and then Hillary?
Yeah, I'd just like to say it was nice to see police here, although they would have been better on the street. But
that's debatable.
But in all fairness, it was nice to see her because when she does make a report back to superiors, I would think that her report will say that the problem here in Aston Parish Council for why she's been brought in is more to do with councillors arguing with themselves and the problems with the public.
That's not a question. Good point.
Well, I noticed you won't be here tonight,
Well,
so perhaps...
no,
That's
the problem with us, I was a victim last week. That was not a question, Mr Chairman, that was a statement.
We didn't bring her in.
Chair, point of order. Point of order, Chair.
Thank you.
This session is for comments about tonight's meeting, not other questions.
Yeah, we've had the comments, thank you. Hillary?
Thank you. The reason I wanted to make a comment when Clive was speaking, I wanted to know about Green Hillside. I wanted to, because we've been promised how many times that we, the public, will have the same information of planning applications, etc. attached
Wrong
to the
website.
minutes. And they haven't been, and still haven't been. So, Clive, can I ask you, Mrs. Elbridge,
Yeah.
right? Are the additional houses going to come out onto Main Street? Is there, I mean, because I don't think there's any alternative.
No, there is one property one property at the back, which was passed last year in December
That's
26.
Mrs. Elbridge.
Yes, on the top flat bit,
Yeah.
there's one property going there, and their garage will be at the bottom.
Yeah. So what we're saying is we have two
in the village.
vehicles per dwelling usually, don't we? That's what the plan is.
Yeah, I think there's a parking spot and a garage
Yeah,
associated
so
with
what
it.
I'm saying is about onto Main Street,
Yeah.
the additional traffic onto Main Street.
Well, that's, as far as I'm aware, the highways have no objection. That's why they've asked for it to come onto Main Street as opposed to Hillside, because that wasn't. They wouldn't agree to that. It wouldn't work. So they're quite happy with what's proposed for access onto Main Street, and the entrance is going to be adjusted to suit. Yeah, the display will be changed with the stonework. Yeah.
I just wanted to know, so it will be two, so engineering now, they will have two.
There
vehicles.
are,
And so there'll be four extra vehicles.
I'm not sure about numbers. All I know is that the garages are left at the bottom, and there are two parking spaces. So if you need to go on and have a look at the plan for this one. But if you go, all you have to do is go on the number and put it in.
I just want the point of clarification. The plans don't actually come through to us.
We only have a number.
So the clerk basically gets a summary of what she puts
You have to
here.
go on the
only
website.
extra information the clerk gets is a link to the application.
Planning portal.
Well, it would be handy to have that.
Okay.
We've been promised, we were promised the plan, so belatedly we are told that we don't get the plan.
It's very easy to go on the website.
Yeah.
As far as I'm aware of, every planning application has to be posted publicly, and all planning applications are attached to the nearest land.
No, not everyone.
No.
No, only in conservation areas.
Okay, ladies and gents, I'm going to move on. Kevin?
The only younger minimum that I am.
Kevin, sure.
Simple on this. Now, some ground workers have cut some trees down in Brookwalk outside at school, exposing school. And now I understand that the taxpayers' money is going to be spent replacing them by saplings. So, why were we authorised in the first place? And why were we supervised?
I don't know where it's happened.
So, are we happy to resolve to exclude the press and public?
Do you want to propose
It's not a forum for questions.
It's a comment.
It's for comments.
Can I resolve, Chair, that we now go into public session to discuss the confidential nature of the items to be transacted?
Second then. All those in favour? Thank you. Can I ask the press and public if they would mind leaving, please?
That planning application, I meant to speak about that. I think that was wrong, we're not talking about the inside. It's one of the whole